Welcome to the House on Fire podcast. Our aim is to light a fire for Jesus in the homes of those who listen through encouragement and equipping. Let's partner together to advance the gospel in the next generation. I am your host, Lucas Jackson, and I am passionate about seeing more people on fire for Jesus. When you listen to the House on Fire podcast, you'll hear from people you can rub shoulders with every week at Bethel Church, because all of our guests are from our church family. These are people striving to love God, love others, and to serve the world. Hey guys, thanks for joining us on this episode. Excited to have Ceanna with us. Ceanna, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today.
Yes. And before we kind of dive into the topic, so folks get an idea of who you are a little bit, let's just start off with just telling us a little bit about yourself and your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Ceanna, and I am married to my husband, Tanner. We're coming up on our 9th anniversary this spring.
Okay.
So, yep. And we have 2 boys. We have Gavin, who's 4.5, and Nolan, who is 5 months.
Yeah.
We just added a new one to our crew, which is pretty fun. Exciting to see how our first, interacts and becomes a brother.
Oh, yes.
It's fun. And Tanner grew up going to Bethel. And after we were engaged and married, we started coming to Bethel, but we moved away for a little bit.
Yeah.
To Arizona, and then came back and started going to Bethel more frequently again. And it's our church home. Yeah.
Well, very cool. Awesome. Which service do you normally attend? So if somebody was listening, they're like, oh, I need to find her and ask her a question about the podcast and what they talked about. So
yes. So that's a great question. And I wish there was a firm answer.
Just depends on which.
But, with kids, so we try to go to the first service because then Gavin can go to children's church and he enjoys that. But if it doesn't, if we're having an off day and we're just running behind, we're glad that second service is there.
For sure.
I would say if someone wants to find me, that in between time of services is really good. Because I would say if we're going to late service, we get there early.
Yeah.
I really like in the summertime that when we have one service and it's at 10 o'clock, that's like our peak time, like we've gotten ready.
Yeah.
And we've been known to listen online as well. So I'm thankful for all the options that Bethel has to attend and listen.
Yeah. Is there like a group of other believers that you and your husband are really connected to, like a small group or life group, or people that are just in your corner kind of, do you guys have one of those?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say Tanner's family has been so crucial. We're so thankful. And Robin, Tanner's mom, has always been at Bethel for such a long time and playing many different roles and wearing many hats at Bethel. So we do a lot of things with them when we're at the church. I'd say we're still finding our own small group, and I think we're getting to a new comfortability with our kids too, of what group would work for us now.
Yeah.
I'm excited about a women's group that I'm going to be going to.
Is that Tuesday mornings?
No, I do go to Tuesday mornings.
Okay, yeah.
But the group I'm going to be joining is going to be a Monday night group.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yep. We're going to be going through a prayer journal.
Okay,
so
that's
I'm
awesome.
excited about that.
That is cool.
So I would say there's, and then there's lots of people that Tanner has known throughout his life, and then people I've gotten to know. So I'd say we're open to really meeting anybody at Bethel. Of course, we would love to connect with folks who have kids our age too, that's always a plus.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah,
I
if you
love
have
it.
any little rowdy 4-year-olds, send them our. Yeah, I know that our kids play together.
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Yes, it is very fun. When did you become a believer?
Yes, yeah. I became a believer in college.
Okay.
Yes. So for me, I was just thinking about this the other day. That's coming up on. I graduated high school 2011 and started college. It was 2011, 2012.
Where'd you go to college?
MSUM.
Okay,
So just
yeah.
over in Moorhead.
Yeah.
And I became a believer there through the ministry of Cru.
Okay.
Yes. And so it was really through, they had a outreach event. It was a big event across campus that was really aimed at non-believers. It was a very cool event. I remember not even knowing that it was put on by Cru, but I was just intrigued. They had a survivor from the 9/11 towers coming to speak on campus.
Yeah.
But he shared his faith integrated in his amazing survival story.
Yeah.
And that really captured me. And they did like a little follow-up, and I had 2 women share the gospel with me.
Yeah.
And it impacted me in a way I'd never heard it before, because I grew up going to a Catholic church. And so faith looks really differently through the Catholic lens. And I would say I heard the gospel in a very new, simple way that seemed very personal.
Yeah.
And that was so new to me. And the women who were there just, they asked me questions that really made me think. And I was just ready and accepted the gospel when they shared it with me that day. And they invited me. What was great was they followed up with me, I would say.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're a new believer, you're like, well, what happens next? It's very
lots
exciting.
of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say, yes, I gave my life to Christ, but there was so much more that happened afterwards. And Cru was poured into me.
Yeah.
I went to Bible study. I went to their group gathering on Thursdays, started meeting more Christians. And there was just little things that I was like, well, so what does it look like to be a Christian?
Yeah.
And there was other people my age just living out their lives, and it was just modeled to me. So I would say, Cru really impacted me through college. And I also went to another local church in the area.
Yeah.
And first experience of going to a very biblical, gospel-centered church.
Amen.
It was fantastic. And then eventually my path just crossed with Tanner's from mutual friends. And he was like, oh, you've only been a believer for this many years. Jesus changes things and can do it quickly. I was like a sponge during that time. So
what did the discipleship process look like for you? So you go to this event, the follow-up, you put your faith and trust in Christ, go into some Bible studies. Did those same ladies continue to pour into you?
Yeah. Yes. For a minute there, they did. Yes, I would say the same ladies, because their Cru does have staff.
Yeah.
But also student leaders. And Cru did the discipleship process so well, because the next, as soon as it was a new school year, they were like, okay, Ceanna, what do you want to lead? Or how do you see yourself as leading? How can you make disciples?
Yeah.
And I was like, me? I can make disciples? And they're like, yes. And they just pointed it out to me, the call in the Bible of what that looks like. And so soon I was hosting a Bible study.
Okay.
Which meant I invited and welcomed women into my space, but there was still another leader. And then eventually I was leading the Bible study.
Yeah.
And then soon I was discipling people who were leaders of Bible study. So
that's
it was
awesome.
That discipleship train that gets talked about in Timothy with Timothy and Paul, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think Crew does that very well. I think Bethel does that really well. I think that's a sign of a healthy church or healthy ministry is when you have disciples making disciples. And
Yeah.
it was a really cool process. And I think I was also poured into as far as like discovering my spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
And just given a lot of resources on how to do that and realizing that I have giftings.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. That's super cool. Well, the kind of the topic we're going to talk about today, which I know is a passion of yours, is you're not alone, building bridges to help people thrive. And so tell us a little bit about, because you're the resource coordinator here at Bethel, and this is a new role. So tell us a little bit about what a resource coordinator does, and just give us a little bit of input in just what life looks like for you and here in the context of our church.
Yes, absolutely. It is something that I'm really passionate about is resources and people being able to find the right next step for them. And I've had other positions in employment where I have been, guiding people through the resources in our community.
Yeah.
And I have built up over time sort of this bank of resources and connections.
For sure.
And so I get to bring that experience to Bethel. And we're in the counseling office.
Yeah.
So really, it's such a good match for the resource coordinator to be in the counseling office. So when someone comes to Bethel, maybe they're already receiving counseling, and through those counseling sessions, the counselor realizes, oh, I think this person could really benefit from, maybe they need different housing. Maybe they've recently become unhoused.
Yeah.
Or maybe they need access to the food pantry just to help keep up, as they get through the month.
Yeah.
And with the prices of groceries.
Yeah.
It can't hurt to go to the local food pantries. Maybe, there's a whole bunch of like things that someone could be going through.
Yeah.
And those are going to come out during a counseling session. So then our counselors can refer them to me.
Yeah.
And the process also vice versa. I'm going to meet a lot of people from a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And I can be able to then refer them to counseling, because oftentimes, and what I have found out through my experiences, if someone's experiencing something like, they're late on rent, or something came up and they're having financial struggles or medical struggles, is a big one.
Yeah.
It leads to a lot of emotional distress.
Yeah.
That people need to process.
Yeah.
And so doing that with our counselors is really great.
So it's not like on a Sunday morning where like, hey, fill out the connection card, and next steps if if you're looking to get connected to a ministry or more information about, maybe men's or women's, kids, youth, that kind of stuff. It's not so much that. It's so how do you categorize what, you know what I mean? Because there is a little bit of a distinction there, So it's not just like a connection role for the, like, even the discipleship pathway, so to speak. So how would you communicate the difference? Does that make sense?
Yes. So the difference really is, and it can be we want to offer resource coordination to people in the church, but also community members.
Yeah.
And it's really for if you are seeking help, or just guidance on something that has come up in your life that you're just like, this is a struggle. This is heavy. Maybe someone passed away recently in your life that has left maybe it's left a financial burden.
Yeah.
Or, maybe it's affected, maybe you lost your job because you were busy doing something for that person who passed away. There's so many things that just happen in life, and you're just like, where do I go now?
Yeah.
What's what's the next step? I know there's help and resources out there, but I think a lot of people don't know where to start.
Yeah, for sure.
Or maybe they haven't even had anyone listen to them yet. And we really want to be, I'm here to listen. I think there could be a lot of issues stacked on each other. And
For
sometimes
sure.
people just need to unload that. But then we want to look at how we start taking steps forward.
Yeah. No, I love it. And like, why is this role like important in the life of our church? You know, because some people may be thinking like, maybe they've never even heard of a role like this. And they'd be like, okay, well, that's interesting. Like, why does that matter? So I'd love for you to share your heart on that, because it does matter. Like yeah, very much so.
Yes. Absolutely. I think that this role, it really helps our church in a way that I've been comparing it a lot to, I'm sort of like a filter or a funnel for people come in and they have all these needs, but someone like a pastor, it's not quite their area of expertise. Or someone like, your Bible study leader, those people want to love and care, but still be within their role. And, so like for example, someone, a Bible study leader might hear all these things from someone who's attending their Bible study. And they're like, man, I love this person or care for them very much, but I don't know how to help them, take those next steps. And that person, they could pray for that person. Of course, we want to emphasize prayer here, but, how can they help practically too, in a sense?
For sure.
So this role wants to come alongside a person in the ways of, I would say, bio, so like your body, psycho, so like your mental health, emotional, your emotions, your feelings, social, your community. Really, it's a holistic approach, and I think that matters in the church, because how can someone really be growing in their relationship with God when they maybe are having just to worry about where they're going to sleep, or how to pay off their certain debts, or how to get groceries, so those practical things, we want to come alongside someone there, but also be there for them in all the areas that make them a whole person. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. So like what is your heart when somebody reaches out for help?
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of time, or sometimes, to chat with you or whatever, and just to hear that. And I think that would be helpful too. Because it could be hard. I mean, I got a message this morning from a friend who was asking for help. And so just those come across, my, most days, even for me. And so I know where my heart is when those things happen, but would love for the folks to hear your heart in this.
Absolutely. You want to start with just when you're hearing someone, or meeting with someone, I like to come from a place of compassion and seeing that person as a child of God, and just some of the things that people experience, it might not ever happen to you, but it could.
Yeah.
You might be one missed paycheck away, or some really tragic things happen, like a random house fire that's completely random.
Yeah.
That could be you too, or just one tragic event. I don't want to get too specific here, but things could easily happen to you. And I think some people have a hard time stepping into that place because it makes us uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I really try to put myself in that mindset when I just in this position in general, or when I meet with people, and And then I do like to share from my own experience too, because things have happened to me that I think that's relatable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and let people know, like, I feel you. I understand this is heavy. Like, you're carrying a lot of this. And so get to that level with someone. But I've grown in this, I've grown a lot over time. I would sometimes sit in that position of compassion for too long and start to feel too much of the weight and the burden of others.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can't serve people well that
Mm.
way. And so I have to give things to God ultimately. Like I cannot save the day on my own as much as I would want to and try to. But I have to give it to God. And then I also just then have to empower the person. How are we going to move forward from this? Like, yes, this is happening to you, but we're here to take next steps and move forward. And I think, there's some beautiful examples of that in the Bible.
Yeah.
When Jesus, I think when he sits with the woman at the well and they sit and he speaks lots of truth into her of what is going on in her life. And he says like, hey, I know this about you. I see you. But he offers her this living water and then empowers her to go forward. And then she goes and tells the whole town about Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm not Jesus, but that's what I would love. That's what I want to do is empower people too. Like you can be changed. And we want to do that by sharing the gospel and pouring into people spiritually, but also those practical
for sure
things too. Like, let's get you to a place where you're stable, but also coming out of we want to help people get out of cycles maybe that they're in. We want to walk next to people, not just give them, a quick fix.
For sure. Yeah. How does this process work? So let's say I recognize I have a need.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about this, Bethel Church, let's say.
Yeah.
And so, and maybe they've heard your position or not, and they reach out. Kind of, how does that kind of the bullet point of that process go?
Yeah. Yes. And this process is, you mentioned earlier, this is a new position. And so the process is new. So it's fresh it's a work in progress, but so far what we have kind of created is when they call our office, or there's a place for it online to request help. And there's also, we have physical forms that we now have in our office if someone walks in, and we are putting them at the information area on Sunday mornings. If you're at that big desk, we're going to have our forms there too. So this, you're going to fill out, it's called a resource request form.
Okay.
And on that form, you're just gonna and someone can do this for you too. So if you call on the phone, the person on the phone will be kind of filling out this quick little form.
Yeah.
And you just get a little bit of basic contact information.
Yeah.
And you kind of explain your situation. So, I'm Ceanna. This is my number or email. And I am behind on my rent. I sometimes attend Bethel, so that basic information. And then it gets submitted we have it all worked out with, if wherever you fill out this form, it gets a notification email gets sent to me.
Okay.
And then I reach out to that person within I think it's 1 to 2 business days.
Yeah.
Now, and I only work Monday through Thursday. So,
for sure,
it's a business. Yeah. It's a business day. So that, and then I will, that gives me a starting place.
Yeah.
To then I can reach out to that person like, hey, I saw that you are looking for some resources. Now, can you come in and meet with me?
Yeah.
let's sit down. Let's get to know you and your situation. And I do a like an intake assessment is what we've been calling it.
Yeah.
And that's just like a variety of questions to get to know the whole person. Like I said, we're focusing on biological, psychological, emotional, spiritual, all areas that make a person. So there's a variety of questions there. And, and then we eventually get to when they complete that with me, we get to making a plan of, okay, here's the resources that I think will be a good fit for you. Community resources, but also here's what Bethel offers too.
Yeah.
So, and it's, so it is a process. They have to schedule a time to meet with me. So if people are in a true crisis, that's unfortunately, we'll do what we can, but this process isn't really made for that.
And what you mean by like, we want to serve everybody as best we can. But it's not possible for someone to call in and say, hey, I need blank today. And as hard as that is, and maybe I would even say that can, and receiving, hey, sorry, we can't do that today. I know I've had these conversations hundreds of times.
Yes.
And that's hard, but the process is actually important.
Yes.
And critical, actually, in order for us to care well for the person. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to go off of that, I would say, yes, a lot of people, we don't want to discourage people from using my services, our resource services.
Yeah.
Just because we can't help them right there, right then.
Yeah.
We are kind of filling a unique niche here. So we can't help someone in crisis who they need something like right then, right there, like you were saying.
Yeah.
We will, there are places and services in the community who do that, and that's what they do. That's what they specialize in. And
that, if I may, and I think our church, the philosophy said, here's certain things we're going to do. We want to focus on, and we can do really well.
Mm-hmm.
We all have limitations, manpower, resources, facilities, you name it. There's limitations. We're limited. God is not,
yes.
But we are. But we partner with tons of organizations in our community because that's what they specialize in.
Absolutely.
And knowing that, there's just a lot of robust things that come in with when it comes to, I've had folks call in and say, hey, I need a place to stay. Can I stay at the church tonight? And I'm like, well, sir, I'm sorry. We can't do that. And others, you may take that as like, well, why would you not? That seems wrong, or maybe even sinful, or how could you turn somebody away? Those things. But it's like, but there's people in our community that's what they specialize in. So we partner with them because we don't just want to fill the need that's current. We want to holistically care for people. Am I saying that right?
Absolutely. Like I have been saying, just emphasis on helping the whole person. And also there's a longevity to it.
Yeah.
So we would love to be able to fix everyone's problems that are just so pressing. And when people are experiencing an issue that's really urgent, that's often all they can see right in front of them.
For sure. Yeah.
And we want to validate that's real, and that's what a lot of people are experiencing. And we want to try to point someone in the right direction to fill that need as quickly as possible. But that's not in our wheelhouse, and that's not our where we're sitting at for as far as like our office, the counseling office, and the resource coordinator. We want to come in next to someone and say, hey, let's really look at why this main pressing issue came up and dig deeper and see if there's resources we can connect you to so you don't have to be in this place again.
For sure. Yeah.
And then let's let's come around you as a community so you feel supported as you're working through this, as well as the other issues that are most likely underlying there.
Absolutely.
And let's pray for you and offer you the gift of a relationship with Jesus Christ. So that's, I would say, kind of the difference that I want to make sure people kind of understand is, no, we can't always help you with your, and maybe there's some exceptions too. There's always exceptions.
For sure. Yeah. Every circumstance is so different.
Absolutely. No, we can't help you with whatever you might need within the hour or 24 hours.
Yeah.
But we still want to be there for you and support you and walk alongside you as you, work through whatever you're working through. That might be, is hard. And we're here for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that's hard for maybe folks to receive. Mm-hmm. And I totally agree, and I've seen it. I've lived some of those things, and it can be really hard to not necessarily have a solution for somebody right away.
For sure.
And that's not easy to even just, I would assume, for you and your team. And even for me, I'm like, when I get off the phone with somebody and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, God, what do I do here? Now I'm wired maybe a little differently. And there's times where I'm like, well, he could probably stay at my house. But then I'm thinking, well, I'm not single. I'm married and 3 kids, and I don't know this person. And you could make a really good argument that this is a very unwise decision to have a complete stranger that you don't know stay in your home. And maybe the Lord, maybe some folks are able to do that. And I have friends who do that. But I think sometimes folks can maybe have the perspective of like, well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Sure.
And I don't necessarily think that's an appropriate expectation, right? Like, so, but there's always in me, every time these conversations with folks, I'm like, oh man, God, would you help? But there's also, I've taken a few classes on counseling, and we don't just want to address, and you've mentioned this, we don't want to address the issue. May be, I need to get housing. Yes. But ultimately, what does it look like for you? Ultimately, your issue is we're sinful, and we want you to put your faith and trust in Jesus, and we want you to be a disciple and involved in a local church. And you can choose Bethel, great, praise God, or choose another one. We don't care. But yet that ultimately, if you overcome this pressure point in your life, but yet you're not following God, you're not following Christ, you're not a disciple, then what did we really do? We helped with the needs here now, and those are important. Mm-hmm. But yet this person is still not walking with Christ, therefore they're going to hell. So how do we? Mm-hmm. So anyway, so from our perspective, and I would assume even yours, is like it's a bigger narrative.
Yeah.
It's about discipleship, not alleviating the tension in this one issue. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is kind of there is a tension there, like you were kind of saying, of people, and I would say, and Jesus cared about people's physical needs and like he healed people, but then there is the matter of people's salvation. Do those people know Jesus? Do they know what will happen after they die? And that is something when you work in this field, you want to think about. And I've found it very, am very encouraged, and I've worked in places where it wasn't a church. And so I wasn't really supposed to share the gospel. I could just, live like Jesus and try to show it with my actions, but I couldn't just straight up share the gospel. And so I've been encouraged that I get to, it's a really sweet position of being able to offer both to people. And I gave this example earlier too, like the woman at the well, she was looking for water, but she needed the living water.
Amen.
And I think that's what a lot of our our people coming in need.
Yeah.
And we just want to, be able to offer both and,
For sure. Yeah. Or maybe why is it important that the church cares for people holistically? Because maybe there's some out there that just say we just need to preach the gospel and that's it. And we need to do that. And or maybe discipleship's the only thing we need to do. Well, we do need to do that because those are both commanded by God in Scripture that a church is supposed to do. But how do we help care for people holistically?
Absolutely.
Or maybe more like why? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's very a biblical thing. There is scripture that talks about just to care for the poor and needy, to care for the widow, to care for the young children. And I think that's just where God's heart is to care for those who are less than.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, you also never know when that could be you.
Yeah.
And in the church, wouldn't we want the church to surround us when we're going through that struggle? I just think that's how the mindset needs to be. It's like, how would we want the church to care for us if we were in that situation? And I think so. Yeah, I think it's important. And also it really, people are not going to be, if someone's not open to the gospel, someone can't even think or focus on spiritual things when their basic needs are just at large, not being taken care of.
For sure.
If we want someone to start thinking of spiritual things, and that's, I mean, when someone's going through hard times, I feel like they do start to think spiritually, but it could be like negative. Like,
for sure.
Why is this happening to me? There's not really a God. He's not taking care of me. Like, why should I see God if I can't, get through this situation that's right in front of me? And so I think it's so important to offer hope for both areas.
Yeah. No, absolutely. If I was super tired and hungry, it's probably not the prime time for me to do my quiet time.
Yeah.
And so there's practicality of just how we're wired.
Yes.
What keeps people from asking for help, you think? Because I would assume, I mean, honestly, most of the time, especially if it's in the context of somebody in our church that I know, they're involved, they're around, they're a part of discipleship and getting after it and serving. So those, who are members of our church are just actively here and involved. Almost every time that person asks for help, it's always premised with like, hey, I hate to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm really, really sorry, but I'm at the point where like, I just have to ask for help. And it makes, so anyway, so what keeps people from asking for help?
Yes. I hear that a lot too you're so right. And it's always prefaced with, oh, I'm sorry. Like, people apologize right away for asking for help.
Yeah.
And that's too bad. I feel like there's this sense of shame that's built around it. And it's just something that's embedded in culture of like, we need to do it ourselves. We need to be strong or look a certain way. I think it's in our country's culture, and then it's unfortunately built in Christian culture, even of like, well, we should look a certain way because we're the happy Christian family and we go to church every Sunday and it's all good.
Yeah.
And that's not biblical, where the church can be messy. There's, it's okay though to bring that messiness to the Lord, to just show up and be like, this is me, God, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
I've come into church where maybe I was rushing into church with my family and I was having a hard morning and I was trying to hold it together, but instead I just sat in worship service and cried and just let it go because I was having a hard time. And, maybe people were looking at me, but I'm glad I lived in that moment of just being real in front of the Father. And then things got worked out or whatever. But I want to invite people to come into church when they need help, not come to church when you have it all together.
For sure. Yeah.
And there should be no shame. And I think, it's an issue in the church and in community spaces too. Just, trying to make it through on our own, trying to tough it out. And we don't need to do that.
Yeah.
It's going to be more exhausting. And that's not a way to live.
For sure. I was thinking of passages like Galatians 6:2, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Romans 12:15, rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. 1 Thessalonians 5:11, therefore encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. And the thing that, and I could go on and on and on, but what fascinates me is the need for community, the need for discipleship. And when people don't have that, I think there's a ton of practical things of how God has wired the church to operate. So like if we're in community, we're known and being cared for by others, and we're doing the same to the people, and then there's a need that arises, those should be the first people that you're able to reach out to.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks don't have that. And maybe they're non-believers and they just don't know, or maybe they are believers and they have just refused maybe to get involved. Whatever the case may be, but I think ultimately when it comes down to those who are in need, I think biblical community is one of the huge ways that God wants to care for people beyond the immediate need. Yeah. And just, I can't help but keep thinking all the time, like, so everybody wants this.
Yeah.
But there's not that many that actually have it. So in my mind, I've been often thinking, why is this the case?
Absolutely.
And there's probably, if we had 50 people, they maybe would all give a different answer. So anyway, it's on my mind often.
Yeah, I think that first step of putting yourself out there can be really scary and intimidating as well.
Yeah.
If I were to think about even myself of like, I'm going to go to that new women's group coming up. And that when that night comes up, there's going to be probably excuses in my head of why I should just stay home that night.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm going to fight that off. That can often be the enemy trying to isolate us, but also, and our human nature.
Yeah.
Because but as soon as I take that first step, and when I've done this in the past to get connected, it just is so much sweeter.
Yeah.
And I just think of like, so I recently started going to the Tuesday morning gatherings of women as well. And that was, I took that first step of going, and now I'm on the Facebook group, and the Facebook group often prays for each other and ask for prayer requests. Like, how sweet is that? And like you're saying, that can be one of the first people I go to. And I have my own personal friend circles too, that I will often ask for prayer. But now I can post prayer requests there. And technology is a cool thing. We have, when you take that first step, become part of a community, you can be in a text group or a Facebook group and find that place of prayer and community, even if you can't meet in person, which I encourage. But even when you can't do that, you still can have a close community.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I feel like I say this often, but I hear folks that say, hey, I've been coming, but I don't know anybody. And so, or I wish I knew more people. And so and I know this can be harder for certain people, but I often say, come 15 minutes before the service and just meet 2 new people and ask a few questions, and stay after the service 15 minutes and meet a couple of people, ask a few questions. And you do that for 3 months straight, every week for 3 months. And then you let me know how many people you know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's doable, and I get it. That's simple to say. I know we're all wired differently and such, but on the other side of awkwardness is a relationship.
Absolutely.
So we got to get through the awkwardness.
Yes.
And there's going to be awkwardness on the other side of, when you do have a relationship. And so,
I would just
go ahead, please.
add on that. So, and like I said at the beginning of our chat, that's where I am here to interact with people is the between services. So if I can be someone's one of two people that they're trying to meet, I'm here to mingle.
Yeah.
But I'd also, one of the steps that I sometimes regret not taking is doing a quick phone number exchange.
Oh.
I feel like sometimes I will have a great conversation with someone and I'm just like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then you don't. And so that I would say is sometimes the awkward step of doing like, oh, let's quick exchange numbers. And even if you don't, and then maybe you send one text and you don't talk again, you that little extra push of like, okay, now we can actually be in touch. Now we can actually connect.
Yeah.
I would encourage people to do that. Just do a quick exchange. It's not as awkward as you think.
Yeah.
I know that I've had interactions this happens to me a lot at parks with moms.
Yeah.
And I will be like, oh, I've had this really good conversation with this mom. And we're like, but then we end it like, oh, maybe I'll see you at the park again sometime.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, let me get your number. Yeah. I always I want to get numbers as well so I can try to invite people to church. But let me just quick get your number. And then the person will say back to me, oh, I'm so glad you asked.
For sure.
Because I was thinking the same thing, but I was too, nervous or awkward. So I would definitely encourage people to just come a little early, take those baby steps of having a conversation and a quick phone number exchange. And then, and things will just take off from there. Oh,
I agree. I knew you and I would get along really well because I do that often too. I go one step a little further. I always initiate it. I've never had anybody tell me no.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, if it's okay, can I get your cell phone? And usually it's like, I'll send you more information about something or, hey, we'll meet up for coffee or whatever. I've never had anybody say no. Never. And maybe there's some out there that would say no, but no one's ever said no. And I always say, okay, well, what's your number? And I punch it in and I usually just call them really quick. I'm like, hey, that's my number. But then I actually ask them, hey, spell your name because I want to get it right. So so anyway, I don't ever wait for them. I always take the initiative.
Yep.
Because they may forget, but I'm not going to forget.
Yes.
But I'm going to be mad if I gave them my number and they didn't reply. So I do all that like in the interaction before I even walk away. So then I don't
set it up.
It's done. So anyway, I love it that you do that too.
Absolutely. And I think people, then it can be a quick, like, are you at church today?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's fine. Maybe see you next time, just a quick, and then those little interactions over time build up and before you know it, it's a great friendship.
Yeah. Yeah. The phrase I've been thinking a lot more lately is, hey, come sit with me in church. So then you just, here's where we are, like come sit with us. And so that way it's nice to be able to go into a space and, or even meet somebody in the lobby before they get into the worship space or something like that. So that way there is, there's more just comfortability already there.
Absolutely. So, I often just sit with the kiddos. And if we don't make it to where Gavin, my oldest, can go to children's church, if we're at second service, we often sit for most of the service in the lobby. It's so comfortable. There's lots of seating. The service is playing on all the screens. So if you're not ready for being fully immersed in the worship service, which is wonderful and great, and I love being in the worship center, but if you're not quite ready for that step and you want to sit with your coffee, but be around people, Bethel's got a great space for that. And I would love to sit with someone out in the lobby during church. So that's your invite right there.
For sure. I love it. How can we break this stigma around needing support? Because there is a stigma there. And so how do we maybe help navigate that and some wisdom for folks?
Absolutely. Breaking the stigma. It is a really big, I think, process, and breaking any stigma takes time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I would say for folks to, I think there's a couple things people can do. So, just be a listener, I think, for people. And then you're going to find ways that you relate to people. And so, and just realize that might help break some of the stigmas that you have in your own heart, is just listening.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that we have more in common, I think, than we have differences. And then I would also, when people ask for help, you want to be able to say, thank you for trusting me with that, and have those resources to offer right away. So maybe, do a little like research for on your own. So then you can see, like, it's not that big of a deal to ask for help, because there are so many resources out there. Like, so there must be a lot of people who need help if there's all these resources.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's not that strange of a thing to need it, because a lot of people are using, I would say, like, there's more people out there on SNAP or food stamps than you would think. There's so many people who benefit from that, and it's a great program. So it's, I don't think there should be any shame in needing that. In fact, if you ever want to visit your local food bank or food pantry, you'll see that it's a really wonderful place. There's so much dignity there to anybody who has to come in and use that resource.
Yeah.
I would say just get familiar with these spaces that serve the populations who need help, and you'll see folks who are just like you. And I think that breaks down those walls and preconceived notions of like what someone who needs help looks like.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Go to the New Life Center and meet some people. Go to the Downtown Engagement Center. And you'll start meeting just wonderful, wonderful people who are just need some resources.
Yeah.
And I think that if you can change your own heart and your own head first, that I think that is a good step in breaking down the bigger stigma.
Yeah. And obviously it's, as believers, we get the Spirit of God to help guide us in that, which is
amen.
amazing. Even just hearing you talk, I was thinking of phrases that people often say, things like, I'm good, I've got it, don't worry about it, I'll figure it out. Things like, no, it's fine, I've done this before, I don't want to bother you, it's under control, or I'll take care of it myself, things like that. And everything in me thinks, as a Christian, every one of those responses is probably sinful, because it's built out of pride, and it's the exact opposite of what God calls us to be, and that's biblical community. And so, just as I think about these phrases, I'm like, most of these have bought into maybe the lie of the culture of like, you can do this, you've got this. But the scripture doesn't say that. The scripture says Jesus has got this. God's got this. You need biblical community. And so I wonder what does it look like even in our language to communicate things like, hey, I want you to know this. I love you. You don't have this. You do this on your own, you're going to find yourself in a pickle, and then you're going to look around and realize nobody's there with you. So you could do that, or you could try it God's way and be in biblical community, and therefore that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have all your needs met, right away or whatever. But the things that you need most, you're going to have, and that's going to last, for your entire life here on this earth, and it will affect your eternity. So anyway,
yes,
I
agree. I feel like I've even caught myself in that you don't even necessarily look at it as sin, because it just comes so naturally to be like, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. And you're so right. I don't got this. God's got this. His shoulders are so much bigger than mine.
Yeah.
Like, why would I even want to try to do it on my own strength?
Yeah.
But I tend to fall into that sometimes, and you're right, it doesn't work out. And so, yeah, I think if we were just to be real with people when they're trying to muscle through something, be like, no, and shut down that lie, but still be encouraging and loving and offer prayer and, just be like, no, God's got you. God's got this situation. There's a plan and purpose behind this. I think that could make a big difference for people's. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also think, so there's not confusion. These phrases, the ones I mentioned, I've got it, I'm good, don't worry about it. That is not only for those who are financially poor. Economics doesn't affect the sinfulness of trying to do everything on your own. You know what I mean? So there's an aspect of like you could be extremely wealthy and yet still have these same sinful thoughts. So, or you could be extremely poor.
Totally.
And so it fascinates me that it's not based off economics. It's based off of where we spiritually are and what does it look like to walk in obedience and allowing other people to care for us. Not just when it's an emergency, but for, discipleship and community. And anyway.
Absolutely. No, that's a really good point. And everyone is really, before Jesus, everyone's on the same playing field as far as sin and sinful nature, and being spiritually bankrupt, really.
Yeah.
Before you, and then, God doesn't see the economic status of people. He doesn't see it like that.
For sure. Yeah. What would it look like, or just what's the role of community, life groups, play in helping people thrive when it comes to just, we don't just want to fill somebody's need that they currently have, but what does it look like to help get them into a lifelong process of community? So how does that help people thrive?
Yeah. So one of the questions we ask people when they come in on that assessment, and I was just thinking about it before this, is who do you have in your circle or your life? Like, who are your supports?
Yeah.
And there are some people who will say like nobody, or like, oh, I have this family member, but only when they're like available, or there's some folks who don't have a huge list. There's some people who do, but maybe it's not a biblical community, or like I got some coworkers. Well, that's just like a work professional relationship, things like that. And so I think getting someone in that biblical community, a spiritual community where that cares about that spiritual side of you. Everyone has a spiritual side.
Yeah.
By the way, especially when we're talking to people and maybe they haven't thought about spiritual things before, if they're coming in from the community, but we tell them like, hey, we're a church. We care about your spiritual side. Like I think everyone can agree that there's that part of them. Whether it's going to look different to everybody, but we want to point people to Jesus. And being in a group where you can be vulnerable, and ask for prayer and encouragement, where people can lift you up and speak truth into your life. And sometimes truth is hard. As well.
Oh, yeah.
People can hold you accountable. I think just can really, I would say accountability is a big piece.
Yeah.
I think that's been an area of my life where when I think of seasons where I've really thrived, it's been because I'm trying to grow in some way, and I've had people keep me accountable who are from like a life group or just from the church. So I think, if you're a Christian or non-Christian, but if you're a believer and you're not in community yet, who do you have who's checking in on you to make
Yeah.
Asking you about like, how is God working in your life?
That's exactly right.
Asking you like, oh, what are you getting out of the Bible right now? And it's not to like make you feel guilty.
Yeah.
It's just to bring forth an honesty and conversation. Like I have a good group of girlfriends. We sit down and we have fun and live life together. And then the conversations, because I know they're all believers, it's not strange to also bring up like, hey, how's God been working in your life lately? How have you seen God lately?
Yeah.
What's God teaching you?
Mm.
And I feel like if I didn't have a community or relationships like that, where the conversations didn't come down to that, it wouldn't feel as deep.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we can thrive, is in those deeper relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. How has serving in this role kind of shaped your faith? And you've probably had tons of conversations already with folks and stuff. So how is it helping kind of shape your walk with the Lord and what God's doing in your heart?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my, this position is really an answer to prayer. I'll share that I have been in similar positions at other workplaces.
Yeah.
And found myself really burnt out. And I had to take a break from the helping field for a little bit.
Yeah.
And wasn't even sure if I would return, honestly. But I felt like God gave me certain gifts and talents for a reason. And I was just like, well, yeah, am I going to get back to a workplace where I use those things, God? Like, but I don't want to be unhealthy about it. Like it was something that I was really praying about. And this position presented itself and I was able to put myself out there and it worked out, obviously, that I'm here now. And so just being back in this type of field where I'm helping people, but doing it in a way where I'm also offering prayer and the gospel, those things that I love to do that I didn't get to do before. And I noticed I was saying the first couple of weeks I was here, I was like, man, I don't know if I've prayed for a stranger in a while. And now I'm doing that again. It was I just felt so full. My cup was really full. I could just tell that was an area of my life that was missing, was just doing ministry work again. I guess, and life can be a ministry, but this is back in a field where I have experience and gifts, and to be doing it again really feels encouraging and like it's going to be a season of growth and getting in my Bible more so that I can encourage people with the word that I'm reading and how it applies to their life. It's going to be a season of outpour again. I think I needed to take a season away to heal a little bit, but now I'm back to where I can pour out into others, and it's a really sweet thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, how can we be praying for you in this season and, new ministry role and things? So how can we be praying for you?
Absolutely. I think, just that God would keep giving us clarity as to what this role looks like as it grows. Yeah, if there's growth opportunities, that would be wonderful. Right now, this role is part-time, but who knows what it could turn into.
Yeah,
I think the people I work with directly see it as like a bigger thing, and so prayer for against burnout, against compassion fatigue is always needed. That I would, be around people that can fill me up too as I pour out to others.
Yeah.
That's a big prayer. And yeah, just that people would come in with open hearts. Yeah. And I always love prayers for my kiddos too. They're pretty excited that I work here now. Yeah, I would love to be able to keep discipling those kiddos as I disciple others too. It's a big, I'm not just in this role, but I'm still have that identity as mom, and yeah, that impacts everything I do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks so much for your time, Ceanna. Very, very grateful.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the House on Fire podcast. Our prayer is that this podcast activates your home for Jesus. May the light of Christ burn bright through you and yours. Until next time.